And now for a brief word from our commercial sponsors. Sometimes you just really can't find the proper words to describe for someone exactly how you feel about them. Sometimes you can't actually get that one big date night because this is probably that one big date night because for some reason you seem to have ended the night with your glass of alcohol all over your face. But don't worry, there's an answer. Behold. Steamy romance novels, of which we have one last one to read for you. But don't worry, I won't read it in a gnomish voice. Instead, I will check to see if I'm online, because apparently I'm not. And me being offline is unacceptable. Oh, no, I'm online. Okay, I see it being offline. Okay. Scorzad nervously peered around the corner of the column. As he planned, he saw her floating there, alone in her chamber. Had he made the right decision? Visiting the Banshee's private chamber so late at night? The necromancers would surely put him back into the ground if he was discovered. What's worse, he didn't know if his feelings were requited, and Madame Sidnari was known for her short temper. What few doubts the zombie had were quickly tossed aside once he saw a full glimpse of her beauty. Her distinctly elven features, a reminder of her form in a past life, were now only enhanced by the oozing wounds and scabs that dotted her face. Purple, translucent skin was frugally covered by necrotic wrappings that hugged her waifish figure. Cold flesh, neatly fused with ephemeral, as her legless torso sat above a bluish sphere of energy, drifting a few inches above the cold granite floor. Scorzad allowed himself to relax a bit, and wiped the sweat and ichor dripping alternatingly from his prominent brow. Seemingly unaware of his presence, she glided to the only window in the room and looked out on the battlefield. Desolation stretched out before her. Not 6 hours ago, the shrill cries of human children had pierced the air, but now only the sweet silence of death. The wind caught her hair now, playfully flipping the worm-like tangles around her hollowed-out sockets of eyes. Scorzad, suddenly aware he was leaning forward with lust, shrank back behind the column, terrified that the dark Wailer might have seen him. Oh, she had indeed seen him, but he had no reason to fear. "Scorzad," she said, "I've been waiting for you. You fought well today." The banshee coyfully looked over her rotting right shoulder, allowing her wrappings to loosen ever so slightly. "It's time for you to collect your reward." And for some odd reason, the next several pages seem to be stuck together. Can't imagine why. For Gilneas!
I got a bad feeling.
You done well, Coldclaw. The spiders are everywhere. However, I'm afraid we've barely put a dent in the numbers. The spiders keep coming in alarming numbers. You're going to have to go into the lair and kill the broodmother. We've spotted the giant spider known as Ragnar at the edge of the Blackwald. It'll be dangerous, but we're all counting on you.
Good day. Make it quick.
Any luck finding those pages? Thank you. It'll take some time, but I'll try to make some sense of what we have. Well, do what you can. So hi, guys. That person clearly earned their pay, if I do say so myself. Oh, be honest. You get a bit of a laugh out of those. Oh my god. Die. 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 And now that Shuryu's back, I've got one more to read. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. It's the epic and legendary love tale between... Let's see, what's the most unlikely combination I can think of? Love tale between Varian Rin and Garrosh Hellscream.
I always wanted to see you in my bedchambers one day, Varian.
I'm done. Okay, so hopefully that'll... I mean, look at how many... Just look at all these spiderwebs. Oh my god. Now, granted, this particular area has been abandoned for about 8 years. So, it's likely that this is why the spiders have gotten so out of control in this region. Hello, Jay. Welcome to my stream. Shoutouts. As I say to all my new viewers, don't be a stranger. If you want to chat, if you want to talk, you got questions, be like, yo. We like to chat with our viewers here on this stream. Especially me. So.
Get gabbing or get going.
Great job, Coldclaw. I've heard rumors of survivors further in the mountains. Now we'll be able to send some scouts up there.
Watch your back.
Any success, Lorna?
What is it?
Took a while, but I finally put it together what happened here, at least partially. There were survivors of the curse in this town. They joined the others in the mountains. Everybody left, except the man who kept the journal, Old Man Bradshaw. He noticed that the Wargen attacks had stopped all of a sudden. Decided to venture into the Blackwold. There's an abandoned mill just northeast of town. It's where Bradshaw lived. See if you can find any clues there. Hey, Commander Steele. Oh, sorry, I have to do that right.
Hello, Commander.
The Bastion. It's actually kind of a complicated thing. It has to do with a story... Okay. I like to write. I have an overall compendium of written works. That's everything I've ever written. Everything I've ever written exists within one contiguous canon. It's all part of the same continuity, right? The term I use to define that continuity is the Imperium. Within the Imperium, there is an organization called the Empire. And after a certain incident called the Hatred Debacle, there is a group that was founded of very, intelligent, skilled, and non-human people who banded together to try and help save worlds on a personal and individual level. That group is referred to as the Bastion. So I hope that elaborates thereupon. Alright, what do we got here? Holy freaking crap! It's... I have no idea what it is, actually, because if you'll remember, our character turned into a Wargen back during the era of Warcraft 3. Well before we actually knew what Night Elves were. We never actually encountered Night Elves before. So, just like the Orcs who originally encountered the Night Elves would say, our reaction is probably like, oh my god, it's an elf, but, like, wrong.
Goddess bless you.
I've been expecting you, Coldclaw. Do not be alarmed. My name is Belrisra. I am a priestess of the moon, a night elf. You might not know my people, but the destinies of our two races have been linked ever since the curse befell you. You must have many questions, Coldclaw, and they will all be answered in time. I know why you're here, and what you're looking for. I can't lead you there with the enemy tracking you. One of Sylvanas' scouts has been following your tracks. You can't lead the Forsaken to the place you seek. Take this talisman, walk to the road just north of here. Let the ranger lure you to her trap. And use the power of the talisman to break free and counterattack.
Elune light your path.
Okay, I can do that. Oh no, I'm totally being tracked. Such easy prey. Sylvanas will be most pleased. Behold! Goodbye. Wargen power. More knowledge. More power!
What brings you here?
Well done. The scout never had a chance, you're telling me. I feel kind of bad for her, actually. There are others like you, Coldclaw, and they too were once lost and confused. There is a place where you belong. Tal'Daren, the Wild Home, was once home to an order of druids who took the shape of wolves. It is there you'll find answers you seek. It is also there you'll find someone who can offer guidance.
May the stars guide you.
Keep in mind, in lore, up until this point in time, we're just barely holding on. I mean, we're just, like, struggling constantly with this bestial nature and just holding ourselves back every moment, every minute. Again, the constant willpower save. Just, I will retain myself. And so, that's not going to work long term. And I like the way that they kind of emphasize that in story. The idea here is, if we just stayed like this, eventually we would be lost to the curse again, and we would go feral again. Fortunately, they already thought of a way to fix that situation. Oh, hey, poisons. Oh, right, I need to take a ding picture, sorry. Sorry, hang on. I totally spaced. We'll go ahead and take one with her, because we dinged next to her. Okay. Ding, level 10. There we go. By the way, in case anyone actually cares, I'm going to be making a slideshow of all these selfies. It's not actually for you guys or even for myself. It's for the person I promised I'd do this for. But if anyone wants to release that in video format, I can do that. That's up to you guys, though. Holy crap. It's a bunch of Wargen. Like a bunch of Wargen. Crowley! Darius Crowley, you old son of a gun.
We do what we must.
You're all right, Coldclaw. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. It's truly good to see you, friend. I've heard what you've done, and I'm thankful, especially for Lorna. She's all I have left. I'll send for her right away. The Night Elves have taught us much during this time, Coldclaw. They're the ones who taught us who we are and where we come from. Thanks to them, thanks to this place, we're no longer mere beasts. We've regained free will. The Forsaken aren't here for our land alone. They're looking for something we possess. An artifact capable of uncontrollably spreading the curse to all humanity. We cannot let them find it. Sylvanas' banshees have come very close. Help my trackers take them out. Listen, Crowley, I'm really glad you're not upset about me killing you. Like, really, really glad about that. Thanks, buddy.
Elune be with you.
What you know as the curse began as heresy amongst our brethren. Faced with the losing battle against the demonic forces, druids of the Pack eschewed the balance they were sworn to, and allowed the beasts to overtake them. I've actually already told this story. She's telling an inaccurate version of it. They were banished to the Emerald Dream, where they live in eternal slumber, under a tree identical to this one. But not before they spread their curse to others. A quick WoW summary? Okay, everything starts with the old gods and the titans. There you go, there's the quick WoW summary. Today our ceremony will balance to your people. Bring me the leaf that grows in Teldrassil's facilities. I don't know how to summarize this game's lore. I really don't. Okay, let me try the best I can. A bajillion years ago, a dark titan decided to invade Azeroth with a group of demons called the Burning Legion. They failed. The world was split from one continent into many. And then a lot of stuff happened, and then the Burning Legion, which is the group of demons, decided to try and re-invade using a orcish proxy force in order to do it instead. They failed, and then the Burning Legion came back after trying to use this new undead organization called the Scourge, which is a ever-spreading undead power. They failed. And then we went to Outland, and then we went to Northrend, and now we're here. There we go. Super quick summary. Okay. I did it. I do, actually, Rory. I still have those rules written down somewhere. Hello, R&D guy. Yeah, I think we had built it into your backstory that, like, he just couldn't go into human form because he was so in the mindset of the beast or whatever. Hang on, psychotic. Hang on. Looks like I don't have any mods up right now. What did you link him? That is... No, psychotic. No, that's terrible. You're terrible. I'd say, like, maybe 3 months behind him at this point in time. Maybe less than that. Somewhere between 1 and 3 months behind him, timeline-wise. Pretty close, in other words. At least that was the intention originally. That is brief, but it gets across zero information, especially if you have no idea what's being stated. Here's Arthas. The end. Oh, God. So I know there's a guy named Pro Jared. I actually rather enjoy his movies on YouTube. He does these things called 1-minute reviews. I have actually been asked in the past if I am physically capable of doing a 1-minute review. I forget the exact game I did it for, but I actually did sit down, time myself, wrote a script, and then was like, okay, here is the script of exactly how I'm going to do it. And I actually did a review of a game in 1 minute, but it was so contradictory to my nature that even as I was saying it, I mean, literally, even as I was saying the 1 minute speech, I was like, but then I'm totally missing all this other really important stuff in the background. This is actually over a year ago now. Well over a year ago. This was back when I was putting some real sincere thought into completely changing my format and not talking about, you know, all the in-depth lore and discussion and, you know, lore runs and long runs and ruminations. You know, just doing the exact opposite of what I actually do. And, yeah. It's frickin' Doom! Yeah, and I decided not to because my main reasoning, other than the fact that I don't want to, there's tons of people who do that. There's tons of people who give 15-minute reviews, or 1-minute reviews, or 5-minute reviews, or 8-minute reviews. I'm pretty much one of the only people I know who does this. So I just wanted to point this out real quick. You notice this tree here, which is actually overflowing with specifically natural magic, the type of magic that a druid would be using. It's also kind of neat in its overall design. We'll be seeing a couple of other trees like this elsewhere. Excuse me. But these are specifically planted and crafted trees that are... these are... basically, these trees have one step in the door of the Emerald Dream, I think is the best way to explain that. Specifically crafted to have a magical connection with the Emerald Dream, which allows that natural magic to flow back out and affect the area. That's why the Wargen who are here, despite, you know, not having fully mastered their powers yet, have control of their self and their sanity. For example, in lore, remember how I literally just finished talking about how, you know, over here, all the way up to this time, we're barely keeping control of ourselves. What this would feel like to our character as we're walking in is the closer we get, that rage and that beast in the back of the mind will just slowly fade until we're actually within the tree's boughs itself here. By the time we're here, it's gone completely. Utterly gone. Hi, Lonely. Hi, Lilu. So by this point in time, there's no combat. There's no inner turmoil. We're just ourselves. You know, our actual full selves. Without having to fight anything. As if we were just still a human. But we obviously don't have the ability to turn into a human yet because we haven't mastered it. Literally just the proximity of the tree itself is what's giving us that connection. That sense of self. Is this one of those in-a-minute things? It is one of those in-a-minute things. Which is another example of a format that I will never do, because well, I don't think I have to explain that, do I?
We will prevail.
As good as I remember, Cold Claw. Good to have you back.
We do what we must.
Oh, right, hang on, before we turn that in.
I am honored.
You have returned, Coldclaw. These simple leaves grow by a loon's grace. They will help your mind understand the need for balance, and your soul will permanently earn mastery over the beast.
Go in peace.
Darius, the Dark Rangers have the scythe. They got to it before we were able to reach it. Get our men in position immediately, Tobias. We cannot afford to get the scythe into the hands of the Forsaken.
We will prevail.
Ever since the Forsaken invaded Gilneas, we've tried to keep the location of the Scythe of Elune secret. We moved it at night to one of many safe locations. The Dark Rangers got close, but never found it. Until now. They were last spotted in the Woods End cabin, west of here. Blow this horn when you find them, and Tobias and his trackers will engage the Dark Rangers. Only then will it be safe for you to go inside the cabin and take the scythe. Hurry. It must not reach Sylvanas. Yeah, I actually would fully imagine that a Wargen player would commune with one of those trees regularly. Spoiler alert, we as a Wargen player have never actually been back to Gilneas. The Forsaken actually win here. They successfully conquer this area. So the good news is there are still plenty of trees like that where we end up. In fact, when I was actually making my actual Wargen character, his name was Airbax, he was so grateful and so loyal to the Night Elves that, well, basically he had a huge disdain and almost hatred of the Alliance in general, and especially of the humans and Varian. But he was willing to go ahead and help the Alliance overall because of his loyalty specifically to the Night Elves. You'll see why he's so loyal to the Night Elves in a bit. But again, the Night Elves have those trees all over the place, so one of the things he would do in lore, in role-playing or whatever, is regularly return to those trees and just rest there, commune with them, meditate, that kind of thing, to help him maintain his sense of self and center. Hello, little Deutsch. Little Deutschling. That's your new name, Deutschling. More like the opposite, Darth Spectators. They were hated with me, and the Darnassus was exalted with me. Okay, so I'm gonna just rush up here, I guess. Because, yeah, there's a player ahead of me there. I either need to get ahead of that player or behind them and finish this up. Ah, crap, they saw me! Quick, why is... You know what, hang on. There. Are you, though, Deutsch? Ahem. I suppose I could do this. Oh, in case you're wondering, that's also part of why there's literally Night Elven buildings kind of growing out of the tree. It's part of the connection to the dream, like I said. And there's someone doing the cutscene ahead of me. God damn, other players! I'm just gonna wander out here for a minute. What can I talk about right now? I can talk about the destruction of all reality. Have you heard about the message about how you should totally become part of the Lich King's Scourge? Hey guys, I just had someone bash me for my StarCraft Lorerun because I played on casual difficulty. Again. The Scourge does indeed have dental coverage, yes. How did the Dark Elves come about in this universe? Well, that's an interesting question. My first and most immediate answer is there is no such thing as a Dark Elf. But I imagine what you mean is the Night Elves. Now, I know what you're thinking. What's the difference? Well, Dark Elves, in most fiction, usually refers to, for lack of a better and simpler way to put it, evil elves, like the Drow, for example, or the Dark Eldar in Warhammer 40k. The Night Elves, while they have some issues, mostly pride-related issues, they're not in any way an evil race. They are just a arrogant race. The Night Elves came about because there was a specific group of trolls all the way back in the long, long ago, in the before times. Those trolls were actually referred to as dark trolls. Thank you, Ricky. Appreciate it. Admittedly, Sylvanas is kind of a dark elf. I'll actually give you that one. The dark trolls were lived within these caves and otherwise hidden areas near this place called the Well of Eternity. They were completely different from their other troll brethren. They weren't seeking to dominate or to conquer or to war like the Amani and the Gurabashi and the Drakari were. And they weren't really in conflict with the... excuse me. They weren't really in conflict with the Black Empire all that much either. The Black Empire of the Old Gods. Instead, they were interested in scholarly works and magic and just kind of building their own little cultural renaissance there in the caves. Those dark trolls got more and more into contact with the Well of Eternity, and as they did, the well started to change them over several years, several generations, I should rephrase, giving them immortal life and turning them into what we now refer to as Night Elves. Now, interesting fact, apparently there was this entity speaking to them either in, from, or through the Well of Eternity, an entity we refer to as Elune. This is really, really big evidence towards the idea that Elune is in fact the Nascent Titan, as we referred earlier. But anyways, so that's how the Night Elves came into being. The Doomsday Machine? I will imagine, for a moment, that you were referring to the original Star Trek episode, in which case it's, I'd say, among, if not my favorite of the original Star Trek episodes. There's 5 episodes of the original series that all dogpile on my favorite. Doomsday Machine is one of them. The one I can never think of the name of is the second one. No, they don't. They had controlled like this tiny little section. Hylisk. Here, you know what? I can demonstrate very quickly. Give me a moment. Oops, wrong image. Wrong image. No spoilers here. Don't worry. Don't worry. Give me just a moment, okay? There we go. All right. You see these purple splotches? That's where the Dark Trolls were. For a little bit of contrast, there's the Drakari. There's the Amani. There's the Gurabashi. And of course, there's the Zandalar. And there's, of course, the Karaji, the Mantivet, or the Mantid, and the Nerubians, all the way up there. So, like, as you can see, the Dark Trolls, while they were kind of spread out, were very, very much less influential when it comes to the other troll empires. So, I've lost my train of thought. Doomsday Machine, Trouble with Tribbles, Balance of Terror, the time travel episode, I can't think of the name of any of these, and the episode with Kodos the Executioner. Those are my 5 favorite original series episodes. Moving on. I think this cutscene's done. We can finally advance. Other players. I'm just going to make that a thing. Hashtag other players.
We do what we must.
Do you have the scythe? I knew I could count on you. You've done well, Coldclaw. It's time. This alchemy that's kept the beast inside you at bay will not last forever. The first cursed Wargen were Night Elf druids like our allies. They, however, abandoned the balance that the rest of their kind embraced, and allowed them to be taken over by the beasts in their minds. It is only fitting that their brethren be the ones to deliver us from this curse. Go, rogue, drink from the waters of Tal'Darim, and make peace with yourself. I try, Jay. Just as Goldrun's spirit once blessed our druid, let Coldclaw be blessed by the wisdom of his race and the ferocity of the wolf god. Also, that's not actually a god as we've described. That is, however, literally the Loa of wolves, which is why Goldrun is so damn strong. Just as Daralnir soothes the cursed druids who gave up into the beast and abandoned balance, let Taldaran soothe Coldclaw. Let the scythe unbind that which was not meant to be bound. Let the soul master the beast, lest the beast master the soul.
We will prevail.
It's done then. You're one of us now. For Gilneas! It'll be a long time before our nation comes together again.
Lorna!
Oh, by the way, human form. As you can see, we have mastered that ability now.
We do what we must.
Crowley! You and your elven allies are hereby ordered to serve along the king's army. Cursed or not, you are still bound by Gilnean law.
Does this toad speak for you again? You come to our dwelling as a friend, or do you come as a tyrant?
No, old friend. I've come to you as an equal.
That one was pretty well broadcasted. We all knew Gen was a warrior.
Impossible!
Again. It is not law that binds us. It is something far stronger. My men are ready to give their lives under your command.
It is decided, then. We will unite all Gilneans and drive the Forsaken from our lands.
No, you won't. On either front, actually. I do like that line a lot, by the way. This is pretty much officially the point at which Gilmnaean has grown up as a character.
We will prevail.
It'll be a long time again before our nation comes together again. The old political divisions pale in comparison to what divides us now. Yet if there's ever a time for us to come together and unite against a common enemy, it is now. And it is you, Coldclaw, who have been proven able to bridge the gap between our people. As you can see, because I'm a human. Woo, screw this. Must not lose control. Okay, we're better. Return to Stormglen. Tell them it is safe to go through the Black Wall on their way to Tempest Reach. We will take care of any Forsaken who follow them. Hello, Lilix Plays. I'm in trouble with tribbles because I constantly mix up the two titles. Because I'm stupid. Gilneans do have a couple of issues. One or two. It is interesting to note that we still haven't taken Gilneas back from the Forsaken to this day. Honestly, at this point, it's possible that's not even going to happen. Remember that speech I gave earlier about how incredibly tactically useful it is to have Gilneas for the Forsaken? Try to remember that the Forsaken really, really don't want to let go of this incredibly valuable territory. And on top of that, the Forsaken are actually here in force, maintaining it. The Gilneans only lost Gilneas because they were weak and barely functional as a unified force, being hit on from all sides, and the Cataclysm was happening. The Forsaken are now entrenched. Taking Gilneas back is going to be much, much harder than taking it in the first place was. So now the sad thing is, as Psychotic points out, the Forsaken haven't done anything with Gilneas that we're aware of, and they really should. I would love to see this built up to like the fortress of the Forsaken right here. Massive military buildup, huge harbor in the shores here. Oh, there's so much they could do with that, and should do with that. We'll see if they ever do.
Any friend of Gilmnaean is a friend of mine.
King Gilmnaean gave me a brief rundown on the plan before he set off to the Blackwall. Doesn't make it sound any less crazy. I will do as Darius asked and have our people move to the Blackwall. You ought to catch up with King Greymane. He and Krenin went into the Tempest's Reach after Lord Godfrey confirmed the survivors had made their dwelling there. Follow the road out of the Storm Glen into the mountains. Ask Krenin to wait for you at the bridge before Tempest Keep. Or Tempest
Good
Reach.
day.
Sorry, it's kind of a habit to call it Tempest Keep, what can I say? Yes, they do. Agreed, Gnarlex. Excuse me. I can't random. I'm sorry. Wait, I can do it without raising my... See, if I raise my voice to full volume, I can get very, very loud. I have a huge lung capacity, ironically. So, I'm gonna do a whispering Leroy Jenkins. Leroy Jenkins. There you go. Whispered Leroy. I know, Raskor. I know. Whatever. Gilneas, yeah, Gilneas doesn't, and Wargens in general, practically don't matter to the overall lore, and that's a damn shame if I could be blunt. Wargens are one of several rather underutilized races that are playable races, along with the Draenei, actually. Furthermore, as was just pointed out, we still haven't retaken Gnomergon, for God's sakes. And don't give me the excuse, oh, well, they want to keep the 5-man there. Screw that. First of all, layered content is a thing. Second of all, they already have MMO time as a thing, so it's not like we can't already go into the past and do stuff in the past in this game. I'm not even talking about the Caverns of Time. I mean just going to Outland, for God's sakes. So they could keep Gnomergon if they really, really want to. We could just, you know, go and retake the frickin' city and actually have a gnomish city. Unfortunately, there is a real-life problem with there actually being a proper Gnomergon that's a playable city. It's very simple. That is a huge amount of time and effort and art assets and really tying up the art team, who do some amazing work, don't mistake me, for something that isn't effectively new content. And if you remember, the few times when they've gone back and revamped things, players have complained to high heaven about, oh, we didn't get any new content. There's no new races and classes and warlords. All they did was completely revamp the entire character model for every single race, which was a hellaciously huge job for all of them to do. Oh, God, they didn't add any new content to Cataclysm. All they did was revamped 2 entire continents worth of content, etc., etc. So, at this point in time, I would be amazed if they were willing to go back and add something whose only real purpose, really, is to basically further flesh out something that should be fleshed out from the past, but wouldn't be new content, if you follow my thinking there.
We live another day.
Coldclaw. They've taken our king! King Greymane's been taken prisoner by Lord Godfrey in the Tempest Reach. He managed to convince 2 of the Eastern Lords to go through with his plan. The fool seems to think he can strike a deal with the Forsaken by turning Greymane over to them. Listen carefully, Cloakclaw. We need to resolve this as little bloodshed as possible. This potion will enable you to sneak in undetected. We need you to assassinate the traitorous lords before this gets out of hand. Alright, let's do this. So, there's a little bit of politics behind what we're about to do. These 3 lords are actually mentioned in a short story, where we learn a little bit about where their allegiances lie. You remember how I mentioned that King Greymane is a dictator in this situation? And I mentioned that as if it was a positive feature. Yeah, I know, right, Stukov? Ridiculous amount of new content, but I've ranted about that for years. I really should let it go. While they were discussing the whole whether we should build the wall situation or not, pretty much all of the Eastern Lords, which include these 3, were fully in favor of setting up the wall because all their holdings were down here. This is where their territory was, so their lands would be unaffected. They would still retain their land, their wealth, and their riches. Crowley was actually accused by them of only being against this because his lands were up here. And yet there were other lords who also had their lands up here who were losing their land, who were in favor of the wall. As I already explained, Crowley was against it because he was a good guy. He was a good person. And he didn't want to abandon a third of the nation up there. No, I am not. Is there even a mic on this? I don't think there is. Yeah, this is just a volume control. No mic. I do not have a theory for that, Draculas. For the longest time, I assumed... So he's talking about this zone right here. You see this? There's nothing there, really. You can't even reach it. For the longest time, I actually assumed that was Stratholme. It's about the size of Stratholme, actually. But people who have actually done digging into that and actually looked at the areas can tell that's actually not Stratholme. So, it is as good a question as any. I think that's one of the only zones they're not using now. There used to be another one around here somewhere. I forget where it is now. It's not there anymore, that they weren't using as well. Anyways. I am invisible. Except to the dogs. For some reason the dogs can smell me. What a shark. Well, there's Gen. Excuse me. Apparently I'm not here to save Gen, I'm just here to assassinate people, so I'm gonna go do that really quick. I thought so as well, Nicolas. Don't mistake me, I do understand why some people were upset at not getting, you know, new race or new class in Warlords. Maybe I'm just biased because I understand just how much incredible amount of work it took in order to redo every single race, except for Goblins, and Goblins, Pandaren, and Wargen. We're already using the new models and the new tech. Every other race was completely redone, and personally, I think the new models look way better. I mean, all you have to do is look at some of the old cutscenes to really see the difference when you can see them up close, you know? But, yeah. On you go. So there goes Walden. Hope we never see him again in Shadowfang. Excuse me. I wouldn't mind if they had some options for, like, you know, like you say, it's like playing a scrawny human or whatever. That'd be kind of nice. Because all the humans are a little bit muscle-bound. So are the orcs, for that matter. Just... Yeah, I've actually seen a lot of the new animations. The mage is one that was just mentioned on MMO Champion today. And it looks really nice. I really like what they're doing with it. And they're adding a new class, so people shut up about that. Hopefully Legion will be a properly full expansion, because they've had a long time to work on it. They've actually began work overall on Legion before Warlords. Basically at the same time they were working on Warlords. More fitting? That's a tough question, Nicolas. Since both have a rather vested interest in killing the crap out of them. Yeah, I know, Draculas. Kind of sounds like Tor, doesn't it? A game that took a bajillion years to come out and then was unfinished when it finally did. Damn it. Do not like playing a rogue. It would, Sonic, but I can see why they're not. Hello. I just said Sonic. Psychotic. And then I say hello to Sonic. God. Wake up, Arsh. If I had my ideal version, what I'd say is I'd make it a choice. Start at 70 or start at 90. Or 98 or whatever.
Gilneas will rise again.
I wish this could have been avoided. We gotta solve this without further bloodshed. Wait, hang on. That doesn't sound right.
Don't waste my time. Good day.
Okay, how about this? Ah, die! Evade? God damn it. Fine, here. Right on your face. Okay.
My people have suffered so long.
I'll take the cloak.
If only I could shoulder more of their burden.
Gilneas will rise again.
It's over, Godfrey. You have no more support left amongst the Eastern Lords.
I'd sooner die than have one of your kind for a king.
But, Godfrey, dude, you don't... Where are you going? Godfrey? Dude! Wow. Okay. Godfrey just jumped off the cliff and committed suicide rather than join with his king, who happened to be a Wargen.
My people have suffered so long. If only I could shoulder more of their burden.
Thank you, Coldclaw. We can't rest on our laurels, however. We found out about a mining town currently under forsaken occupation. We sent some of my men, along with Crowley's daughter, to the nearby livery stables to begin our operations there. Liam should be joining them shortly. I'll stay here and organize the final push for Gilneas City. Speak to Lord Hull to secure a horse. So, naturally, we now have a hat. We are a proper, dapper gentleman. But, I don't know, it doesn't quite fit us here. If only there was some way for it to look even more appropriate. Ah, there we go. Perfect. Perfect.
Hail, traveler.
Yeah, no kidding, Jay. Is well worth getting into. Obviously, I am a bit biased because I love the hell out of this game, but especially if you've never played it, I would say yes. Ever since Kata, this game has been very new player friendly. So getting into it and starting new and figuring out what you're doing is much, much smoother and less punishing and less confusing than it ever used to be. And, yeah, the quests are great and there's tons of options for what you can do, and yeah. Oh, I know, Nicholas. So, I would say, yeah, it's worth getting into WoW if you can afford it. Now, I know some people don't have the same perspective I do on this, so allow me to give you my perspective on this. $15 a month is a joke for the amount of content I get out of it, but it is specifically because I get a lot of content out of it. I get more than $15 worth of enjoyment out of this per month. That's more than worth it to me. I mean, how much more money than that do I spend on other entertainment in any given month? You know what I mean? So, I could literally go watch a movie with a friend for the same amount of time I get for a month of being able to play WoW. So, but of course, that does depend on if you're going to be enjoying the experience. So, like, someone in chat just mentioned it. There it is. Commander Steele said you can try the game for free up to level 20 and see if it's actually your cup of tea. So. I once had a friend who used to go to bars regularly. This is many years ago. And he used to make fun of me for spending $10 a month on a video game and for playing video games in general. He thought that it was the biggest waste of money to do so. That was his specific argument. I found that hilarious, by the way, because he was a guy who went to bars regularly. Now, this is not intended to be a like judgment or anything. You want to go drinking, that's your problem. But if you're someone who's going drinking, using the argument that it's a waste of money is really a bad platform to stand on, given how much more money he spent a night than I spent a month. Oh my god, it is!
A shipper-looking one.
Guys, it's the guy from the novels. It's Marcus. It's Marcus. Hey.
I got a bad feeling.
I was one of the few that escaped Coldclaw. When the Forsaken took over our town and our mine, they treated us with utmost cruelty. Those of us who were weak and could not endure hard labor were forced to work to death by the abominations known as the Brothog. What are you, the Scourge? My wife was amongst his victims, and I swore one day her death would be avenged, and I would go have sex with every single female creature in Azeroth.
That's enough gabbing for me today.
Make it quick.
I'm glad to have you here, Coldclaw. We're surrounded by Forsaken on all sides. We can use all the help we can get. Ding! We recently found out that the villagers on Emberstorm Village survived most of the ravages of the curse. Unfortunately, the village wasn't as fortunate when it came to the Forsaken. The Forsaken have taken the villagers prisoner and are forcing them to work in the nearby mines as slaves. So, yeah. As much as I argue that the Forsaken have good tactical reason for being here, and I do, they're also being hideously evil here. So, in case you think I'm being a Forsaken apologist, again, hideously evil. There she is.
If it ain't here, it ain't nowhere. Always a pleasure.
What can I do for you?
I'm not dumb, Coldclaw. I know what's ahead of us. Our people are going to go through those gates and fight against an enemy that's better trained, more numbers, and better weapons. Even if we succeed, it'll be a great cost for most of us. Today's meal will be the last. I can't fight, but I sure can cook! Gilnean chefs are the actually, in lore, apparently Gilnean cooks are like some of the best cooks in the entire world. That's not a joke. Bring me meat from the stags that roam this area, and I will ensure the last meal these folks get will be their best.
Farewell.
Hey, Marcus. Listen. I really feel for your dead wife. Really. Had to get one with the top hat. I can't agree with that, Origin. Sorry. Forsaken specific crimes. Well, we already seen the first and arguably the worst, in my opinion. Slavery. In fact, specifically working slaves to death. I know what you're thinking. That's really wasteful. To which I say, what the hell? The first thing you think is how wasteful that is? Seriously? No. It's not actually wasteful because they have no problems raising humans as new Forsaken recruits. So you get back up once you die. So it's not actually wasteful. That is true, Nicholas. That is true. So everywhere that does not count Pandaria. Second big crime, they use the Blight here. Now, the Blight is extremely wasteful. In fact, using the Blight is really, really stupid of the Forsaken. I mean, first and foremost, they are really, really not well liked for the usage of the Blight at the Wrathgate. Keeping in mind the actual, excuse me, the, how do I put this? Basically, their big claim to innocence in the Wrathgate was that it wasn't the Forsaken that did that. It was specifically the forces of Veramothras and Putris. And that is absolutely true. However, after Sylvanas came back and started kind of, for lack of a better word to use here, rejuvenating the Forsaken war machine, one of the problems that happened is she stopped giving a damn about things like ethics, morality, or anything, really. So she totally authorized the usage of the Blight. Because she doesn't give a damn. Which is stupid for a third reason, actually. Because using the Blight is actually damaging the terrain you want to conquer. It's kind of along the lines of the Malik side of mentality. Who cares if I destroy what I'm trying to conquer? I'm just interested in conquering it. And yeah, she's actually doing so at her own risk and peril. Because Garrosh specifically is like, no.
You will not use the Blight,
is what Garrosh says. I don't want to get too much into real-life politics, Origin Chaos, because that's a topic I try very hard to avoid. All I'm going to say is there have been several circumstances in real-life history where a nation has tried to take another nation's territory because they basically had to, in order to survive. Now, those are the rare occasions, I will freely admit that. And again, I fully agree with the Forsaken's tactical reasons for being here. If it was literally just... If the Forsaken weren't evil, let's just say it like that. If the Forsaken weren't evil and they were just here to take this territory, yes, absolutely, fully agree with the reasoning on that. Yeah. If only they weren't being evil, you know? It might help out the situation a little bit. You cannot tell me with a straight face that you think Vol'jin will be totally okay with her using the Blight. It's also possible to be pushed into a situation where you take someone else's territory. If, for lack of a better term, what I mean by that is, let's say that you're being politically and economically bullied, for lack of a better term to use. So you are lacking the ability to actually self-sustain yourself because of other stronger nations who are exerting influence on you. And so a military solution is one of the only available options to you. Malik is just such a great measuring stick for that particular brand of evil. As I believe Sci-Fi Debris put it, Malik is the worst kind of conqueror because he's the kind of guy who goes and conquers the galaxy and looks back at what he's conquered, but there's nothing there. Like, there's nothing to look back on that he conquered because he just destroyed it all as he was going through. But yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to say there, Origin. Again, if the Forsaken weren't evil, and I want to really stress that, I would totally be on their side here. And forgive me, I get why Sylvanas went the direction she did. I do. I get why they took the Forsaken the direction they did. I do. I just really wish they weren't. Back in vanilla, the Forsaken were one of the most good races. And I know if Zawan was on right now, he would totally argue with me on that, and that's fine. But I mean that sincerely. The Forsaken in vanilla were exactly their namesake. They were hated by everyone, abandoned by everyone, barely tolerated by their allies in the Horde. And other than a couple of individual circumstances, most of which were quests specifically relating to Veramothras, they were just trying to survive, just trying to make their own within the world, in a world where everyone was against them. I wanted that Forsaken to really rise and become strong and become awesome, rather than become what the Forsaken have actually become. I don't want to spoil too much about something, but for those of you who've watched Babylon 5, let's just say this entire situation really seems familiar compared to Babylon 5. Anyways, hey blah blah, what's up? Let's kill Brothog. Brothog? I don't know. He's dead. That's the important part. So say, I imagine a lot of you who know what I'm talking about in Babylon 5 are probably just nodding your heads over there like, yep. Yep. I wanted to see them become great again. And then they went this way with it. Yeah, pretty much, Hylisk. Funny you say that. My second character ever. My first was actually an orc warrior. My second character ever was a Forsaken warlock, just like you. And my third was a Tauren. I don't even remember the class, to be completely honest with you. I remember a lot about that day, because it was like the first day I ever played WoW. I made 3 characters, just bam, bam, bam. But, I remember how that day ended. I'll tell you that story whenever I make my Tauren, and we go through that stuff. If you guys want me to, of course. I suppose I keep dancing around this topic, so if you'll forgive me, I'm going to stop a moment and discuss why Sylvanas has become hideously evil. Sylvanas has always been kind of... I don't want to say evil, but she has been so focused on her goal that other concerns have stopped mattering to her. I talked about this as we were going through Northrend. She was willing to blackmail the entirety of the Blood Elf, her own people, to assisting in the Northrend campaign, because all that mattered to her was killing Arthas. All that she wanted to do was kill Arthas. She wanted her revenge. We don't know yet, Nicholas. She wanted her revenge, period. That's what mattered to her. Allow me to explain a little bit why. So here's kind of the thing, okay? When Sylvanas died the first time, when she was killed by Death Knight Arthas during the March on Quel'Thalas, she found herself in paradise. There is actually a afterlife of sorts. There's actually multiple afterlives, technically, in the Warcraft setting. Not that unusual for a fantasy setting. And there are two primary afterlives I'm going to be discussing here. The light and the dark. The light is basically full-on, full-tilt paradise. This wonderful, beatific, amazing, great place. It's warm, it's loving, it's kind. Your friends are there, your loved ones are there. Literally, if you can imagine true perfection, it is basically heaven. Then there's the dark. As you might imagine, it's basically the exact opposite. Imagine if you are constantly, every second of every minute of every day, forever, you are filled with pain and horror and nightmare and screaming, horrible terror. That's the dark, okay? So when Sylvanas was killed by Death Knight Arthas, she was actually sent off to the light. And it was such an amazing, transforming experience that when she was raised back up as an undead, her soul was ripped out of the light and put back into her in an undead form. That broke her. Completely broke her sanity. That taste of paradise, followed by the horror of being a controlled undead minion of the Lich King from that point onward. When she finally got her sanity and her soul reattached, when the Lich King stopped controlling her, basically, all she wanted to do was to die. That was literally the first thing on her mind, because she wanted to go back to the light. But she knew if she died right now, it wouldn't be permanent. So everything in her life revolved around killing Arthas, killing the Lich King. That way, she could actually go back to the light and go back to her paradise. Actually, no, it is all the same personality and memories of the original being, Jay. In this setting, all of that stuff, personality, self, sense, memories, all that, that's all contained within the soul. Well, not all of it is contained within the soul. Most of that's contained within the soul. So when the soul is reattached to the body, even as an undead body, you have the same basic person, just different body. Full sapience and sentience for basically every undead. There's actually 3 types of undead, Jay, but I don't want to get into that just yet, if you'll forgive me. So, Sylvanas, everything she did, founding the Forsaken, enslaving Veramothras, forcing the Blood Elves to join the Horde, joining the Horde herself, assisting in the campaign in Outland, every single thing she did, all the power she made, she formed an entire nation that she didn't care about. She formed an entire group of people who were the downtrodden and the broken and the hated, like I was just talking about, hated by the whole world. But she didn't give a damn about them. They were literally just, in her own words, arrows in her quiver. The only thing she wanted to do was go kill Arthas and die. So when we successfully defeated the second Lich King after the end of the Ice-Crown Citadel, she went to the very top of the Citadel and was about ready to commit suicide. She was actually going to jump off the Citadel and die, so she could go back to the light. She, while she was there, encountered several of the Valkyr. 9 of them. I looked this up recently. 9 Valkyr. And they wanted to make a pact with her, basically. Am I dropping frames? I am dropping frames, yes. It looked like a blip or something. I'm not sure what's up with that. So there were 9 Valkyr there. And they wanted her to bind themselves to her. Basically, with the second Lich King gone, they didn't really have the ability to serve anyone, since the third Lich King had no actual interest in using their services, since he wasn't trying to be an evil bastard. He was just being the jailer, for all intents and purposes. So they needed someone to bind themselves to. They needed someone to be like, we want to be free. This is the only way we will taste freedom. Sylvanas said no. Remember, she didn't care about anything. So she jumped off the Citadel and died, committing suicide. Now here's the funny part. If you were paying attention, I mentioned how Sylvanas did a lot of really horrible stuff on her path upwards, just basically trying to make this thing happen. So when she died, she didn't actually go back to the light. She went to the dark. And as I already mentioned, the dark is really, really horrible. Really, really horrifying. And it was just this mind-shattering experience. She also encountered Arthas, the real Arthas, while she was in the dark, by the way. That's where he is as of this day, actually. I really hope we go in there to save him someday. But anyways, at the very least, to stop him from being in there. I mean, for God's sakes. I know Hylas disagrees with me on that, but damn it. After she, so she's there in the dark. She's dead. One of the Valkyr managed to reach out to her and resurrect her, basically. But the way it worked, it actually, it's kind of a messed up situation. So the Valkyr can raise undead, but in order to actually resurrect someone who is that powerful, who is already dead, they need to take her place. So the 9 Valkyr agreed amongst themselves, one of them would take her place in the dark and just exist in the dark forever in this nightmarish, terrible hellscape, and Sylvanas would be able to be brought back to life. Sylvanas took that deal immediately, brought back to life, bound the other 8 Valkyr to her, and that pretty much informs all of Sylvanas' mindset from this point on, because Sylvanas now knows exactly what will happen to her when she dies. And now she has a very important goal. Living forever, and being powerful enough to live forever. In other words, all of this movement, all of this conquest, all of the expansion of the Forsaken territory, while it does benefit the Forsaken, she's doing it for herself. Sylvanas is so terrified, and understandably so, of going back to the dark, that at this point in time, the only thing she can think about is building up this massive empire to completely surround herself as a barrier of protection, so that she will not die again. I once again point this out because that's not really the Forsaken's mentality when it comes to expanding and building up the empire. Because as I mentioned earlier, if you were paying attention, the Forsaken were hated and barely existing and struggling and had enemies on all sides. So the Forsaken as an overall body are okay with this expansion because we'll be able to live again. We'll be able to be strong again. It's the same with the Centauri, really, when you think about it. The idea of going from being this degenerate, barely functional, half-dead society to one of the great powers of the world, it's so understandable why so many Forsaken are on board with that idea, and are so confident in the fact that they're doing the right thing for their people. When again, Sylvanas is only interested in herself. It is understandable. It's actually a bit tragic, actually, because, again, I understand where Sylvanas is coming from. Unfortunately, things actually get worse over time. I'm skipping ahead storyline-wise here, but Sylvanas would actually... not that I'm aware of, Jay. Not that I'm aware of. Sylvanas will actually get worse, more evil, more degenerate, the further on we go into the story. The reason why? Well, as I mentioned, she started off with 8 Valkyr. Since then, at least 4 have been lost. At least 4. So... that means 3, I believe it's actually 3, but 3 or 4 Valkyr are all she has left to keep herself alive. She has gone from being terrified of dying to desperate to keep herself functional, because she just keeps dying, basically, or losing her Valkyr. In fact, pretty much the majority, I'd say at least 80% of Sylvanas' motivation in fighting in the Legion is because she believes she will find more Valkyr there. And she needs them really badly. The other percent of the reason why she's going into the Legion is because the Legion will kill her, and she really doesn't want that to happen. Lusab, she wasn't disgustingly evil, but she did a lot of really bad things before Kata. She earned her way into the dark, if I'm being blunt. However, we also know that Arthas went to the dark. And that's a lot more debatable if Arthas deserved to go to the dark. The real Arthas, not Death Knight Arthas, not the second Lich King, the real Arthas. So it's entirely possible that there's kind of a pass-fail system here in place, and the light and the dark is a lot less merciful? No. Tolerant? I don't know what to use there. Understanding, forgiving, whatever. With regards to whether or not you get to go to the light. Now, what Schmeidolf said is actually true. As I mentioned, there are actually several forms of afterlife, for lack of a better term, within this setting. One of which is to become an ancestral spirit, like Magni did. Like Cairn did, actually. Cairn's another example of that. And, of course, all the ancestors beforehand. You can become an ancestral spirit. You can become a Loa, we think. You can go to the light, you can go to the dark. You can go to rest, which is actually described as something else entirely, basically moving on and ceasing to be in every way that matters. You can linger around as a type 2 undead. There are several options when you die. But, yeah. Oh, there we go. Well, I'm not sure, Draculus. I'm not sure yet. And I don't want to talk too much about Legion spoilers right now, so we'll just leave that at that. It is here and there for a few characters, Rory, yes.
What can I do for you?
Alright, so...
Good day.
Here, yes.
You wouldn't want to see me when I'm angry.
You're... whatever.
What's your story?
So, we finally have this meat here. Thank you, Coldclaw. Our men and women will have a last good meal before they set off to battle.
That's enough gabbing for me today. What is it?
You've done it! The freed villagers are eager to help us in the Forsaken in any way we can.
Make it quick.
The people are free, but the town is still occupied by the Forsaken. They're cut off from the main force, so if we're to drive them out, now's a chance. Their leader, Executor Cornell, is known for his unbound ruthlessness. Also among them is Valinov the Mad, a so-called scientist who carries out inhuman experiments on villagers too old to work in the mines. Okay, I can go kill the crap out of some Forsaken. Yes, I have, Lusob. Not sure what I think of it yet. Do all humans speak British? No, actually, these are the only ones who do. The Gilneans are rather insular when it comes to humans. And by rather, I mean the most insular. Even before they built a giant freaking wall to lock out all other life out of their kingdom, they pretty much were like, get the hell off our territory, leave us alone. The Little England idea, if you will. It is unknown, or possibly the light itself judges you. Take your pick. But it is there's no definitive answer to that, Jay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I can't either, Hylisk. That's a good question, Kezika? But it is worth noting that, as I just mentioned, we actually have no idea who or what is actually maintaining the light or dark. We know it's actually not the Naru. The Naru may be powerful beings of the light, but they're not the ones who actually lead to the light afterlife or the dark afterlife. They're unrelated to that. So, I have a theory about it, Luso, but I don't want to get into Legion spoilers right now. I don't know, I'm pretty sure Thrall isn't going into the light when he's gone. I mean, seriously, if anybody screams, I'm going to become an ancestral spirit, it's that guy.
What is it?
Alright. We have people out of Emberstone on our side now, thanks to you. Time has come, Coldclaw. We've rallied and armed every available Gilnean. It's time to meet the enemy head on! Time to settle the score with the Sylvanas and our Forsaken dogs. That's doubly ironic coming from a Gilnean. Liam is heading the assault from this gate. King Greymane and my father are leading the assault on the other district. We have a crucial role to play in this as well. Take this rapier. Why do I have to use a rapier?
Well met.
I wish to join the battle underway. Let's do it. Roar. For Gilneas. There's an answer to that, Jay. I'm just really tired of giving it. Just go with it. Just go with it. I mean, it's actually like 3 answers combined.
Abominations are blocking the way towards the military district. This won't be easy.
I can ride a mount at level 1, actually, Lulu.
The villagers were thankful to have Emberstone back. They brought us a little something to help against the Forsaken.
Hey! Cannon fire!
You're a sight for sore eyes, Lorna. Let's get those cannons manned. The rest of you, lure the abominations into the open.
The original Wargen were druids, night elves. There's actually a primary Wargen who was like the main original Wargen. I can't remember his name. He goes by the name of Alpha Prime henceforth. Yeah, absolutely becoming an ancestral spirit is a choice. We've seen that many times at this point in time. Yeah, a lot of delay here today. Thank you, Twitch, for delaying everything. I personally think there are good reasons why martial weapons are still being used in a society where guns exist, yes. I don't think I'll be dyeing it white. No, G-Juice. Whether or not I continue to grow it out is not my decision to make. That's literally the answer, Lulu. It's an heirloom mount. It's an heirloom mount. You can use it at level 1. That's nothing else there.
He's too strong! Use the cannonballs to bring him down!
But didn't I just... Wait, but... Okay. Hey, Gracia. Oh, crap. It's gore rot! Quick, to the catapult!
He's too strong! Use the cannonballs to bring him down!
Yeah, thanks. Having some buggy issues here, as you can see. Okay, we got it. We need to go this way in general, I know that. So rather than follow him, what do I have to? No, I can go this way. Look at all this rain. Good lord. Oh crap, that's a lot of undead. Whatever, we can make it work. Charge! Oh god, run. Run. Okay, so there's Sylvanas. Yeah, okay, we have to actually do the event. The event's like out of cycle with itself, so I'm not sure we're going to be able to complete this properly. Let's go back and see if we can get the event working again. Bugs. Believe it or not, I've never actually seen this event bug out like this. Oh, hey.
Gilneas.
There you are, buddy. Waiting for you. Alright, Liam Greymane. Let's go defeat Sylvanas. Wait. Maybe we shouldn't do that. I mean, Sylvanas is like a 7 out of 10. You're like a 3, buddy. Also, hi again, Deutsch. Sorry.
Block their retreat, Liam! We've got them right where we want them! Sylvanas!
Shut up, Gan. Of course I do, Jay. I have several, actually. Why the undead swarm? Did you miss my massive discussion about the politics of the situation, or Sylvanas' motivations, Deutsch? Because if so, I'm just gonna say, there's reasons. Oh, crap. Let's see how brave Gilneas gets on without its stubborn leader.
Father!
So, Sylvanas goes to kill Gilmnaean.
Liam! No!
We did it, Father. We took back our city. We took back...
See you, Myron. So, one thing Sylvanas is known for, and ironically this keeps coming up in the lore, is she is really, really good at making very specifically crafted poisons. She made one for Arthas once. She used that back in Frozen Throne. She made one specifically for Gilmnaean here, to kill him. It was wasted on his son, though. And, of course, she ends up making one in the future to kill Garrosh with. So yeah, there's no saving Liam there. Her poisons are pretty bad. The best part is we didn't actually retake the city.
Make it quick.
Not really. Is it true then? Gilneas has lost her favorite son. We will mourn when this is all over, but not a day sooner. We will not allow ourselves the luxury of grief while the enemy still breathes Gilnean air. My father's men are ready to strike while we still have the Banshee Queen's trail. Just say the word if you're ready. Liam deserves swift vengeance. There we go. Sorry, I kind of had to hurry because he's... I already lost him. There he is. I literally already lost him. I'm coming. Yeah, why can't I jump like that? Okay, I'm here. Let's do it. Ah, stop jumping. You guys realize I was speaking in terms of power, right? Not attractiveness. Make sure everything is ready. The Orc's emissary is ready to meet Sylvanas inside the cathedral. Did you hear that, Goldclaw? Sylvanas is heading to the cathedral. Let's hurry. Quick, hide in the water. Okay, hidden in the water. There's Sylvanas and some orc in Warhowl. And the High Executor.
It appears you're losing control of Gilneas, Sylvanas. Garrosh fears he's going to have to carry out this invasion himself.
You can assure Garrosh that this is a minor setback. Our victory in Gilneas will be absolute.
You sound very confident, Your Majesty. I seriously hope you do not plan to use the plague. Garrosh has explicitly forbidden it.
You do well to watch your tone, General. Neither you nor Garrosh have anything to worry about. We've ceased all production of the plague, as he ordered. We'd never deploy it without his permission.
I will deliver my report to our leader, then. By your leave, my lady.
Go with honor, General.
My lady, should I order my men to stop the deployment of the plague? Or are we to continue as planned?
What kind of question is that? Of course we're deploying the plague, as planned. Let the Gilneans enjoy their small victory. Not even their bones will remain by tomorrow.
As you wish.
Interesting. Aw. Well, crap. Yeah, so for those of you not really aware, that's the Forsaken thing that just melts people physically and spiritually. In other words, it literally melts your soul while it melts your body. But of course that means a strong soul can defend against it. So I mean, hey, you know, that's a positive, right? Right?
What is it?
I mean, someone like the Lich King could defend against it. We're about at his level, right? Right? The plague. Something so heinous not even the orcs condone its use? I'd say this warrants notifying the king. Tell Gilmnaean we have trackers on Sylvanas and tell him about the plague. The decision will be his. Launch an all-out attack on the leader of the Forsaken. We'll try to evacuate our survivors. So, you kind of understand where Gilmnaean's coming from when his desire for revenge against Sylvanas. She did kill his son, after all. But, yeah, this is not the time for that.
Gilneas will prevail.
You present me with the most difficult choice of my life, Coldclaw. As much as I want to exact swift and brutal revenge, I must honor my son's memory first. He cared for his people first and foremost. The Undertaker's Pass goes underground between Northgate River. You must prevent the plague from being deployed while we evacuate the men, women, and children to Edric's repose. We captured one of the Forsaken's dreaded bombing bats. I want you to fly the infernal beast as best you can and unleash hell on those who would bring the plague to our people. Good luck. And yeah, Bolvar didn't actually survive the plague. He just didn't melt. I mean, yeah. Nice place. Honestly, I actually do like the architecture of Gilneas quite a lot. As you can see, they're already deploying it. Literally already bombing the city. They didn't wait even a second. More than they had to. We see it happening at the Wrathgate, yes. Hi, Nothrazim. Hey, look, there's that Night Elfin ship I pointed out at the very beginning of the game. Spoilers. Say, there's the gate we started the game at, right over there. And by the game, I mean, of course, the Wargen. Yeah, I know, right, Deutsch? Hi! Alright, bomb them! It's just so forsaken. Whoa. I don't think I want that to happen, Hylisk, if that's okay with you.
For Gilneas.
You've done very well, Coldclaw. Almost everyone managed to make it through. Time to pack it in, Coldclaw. Most of our people made it through. It's your turn now. Take this torch, you're gonna need it. The tunnel's full of nasty, knee-biting critters of the worst kind. Use it to keep them at bay. Alright, let's do this. Stay back. Oh, God. So I forget who it was, but one of my friends tried to just kill all these. It might have been me, too, for that matter. But if you remember, we're like level 10, so we don't have any AoE. So this didn't work out too well, trying to kill all these rats without AoE. They literally nibbled us to death. Bladestorm would be awesome in that room. Yeah, notice how the rats are fleeing, by the way. Of course they are. This ship's sinking.
We live another day.
You're here. Most everyone made it through, but now we're stuck here, surrounded by our own dead. In our hurry to escape for safety, we disturbed the resting homes of our ancestors. A grave sin, if you'll pardon the pun. Tradition that a small memento be buried on top of Gilnean's graveyards beneath the shallow earth. The stampede of people fleeing these tunnels has unearthed these mementos and angered the spirits. So, these are a very classic example of Type 2 undead, to kind of talk about what I was talking to Jay about earlier. Type 2 undead are usually referred to as natural dead. Spirits that were let loose because their bones were disturbed, or people who died in really, really horrible situations, so their souls lingered, you know, that kind of a thing. Your classic ghost-style scenario. Those are Type 2 undead. Also, probably the most common type of undead in the setting in terms of sheer numbers. Ah.
Well met.
Alright, thank you. Let's hope this works. Ah, you've done it. Even in these times, we must honor the dead. Take these offerings and place them at Aderic's tomb. Let's hope that's enough to placate the ghosts of our ancestors. I have, in fact, played a Shakadan back when that was a day. I also played a heal tank back in the day. That was during Wrath, specifically. It was fun. No, I don't want to kill you. The disintegrating thing? No, Isaac. The Scourge had their own form of the plague. And that form of the plague was actually much, much worse, arguably. It didn't melt you, it converted you.
May the light bless the spirits of our ancestors, for they've chosen to allow my son to rest upon this holy ground.
Oh, God.
It is here, surrounded by the heroes and patriots of Gilneas, where he belongs.
You were a true man of the people, Liam. Unlike any royal I've ever met. We'll make them pay for this.
Gilneas will remember your courage forever, Liam.
We'll return, Liam. I swear this to you.
But not for several years, because, I mean, the Burning Legion just invaded. We're kind of busy, if we're being honest. I would say yes, Psychotic. Just my take on it, though. Most powerful neutral faction that still remains? Either or, the Earthen Ring or the Cenarian Circle. Both of those are still very, very influential and powerful organizations, which, even after the Cataclysm, didn't take that much in the way of losses. So...
we live another day.
Might have lost our city, but at least it looks like the dead have forgiven us. Meet the rest of the survivors in Kiel Harbor. I'm sure there's plenty to do before we're in the clear. By the way, one other little thought of note here. This is where Liam is actually buried. You know, Greymane's son. This territory is under control of the Forsaken, and has been for years. And the Forsaken can resurrect humans as new Forsaken. What do you want to bet that comes back in the future? Forsaken Liam Greymane. I'm sure Gen would love that. About 1. It actually varies from expansion to expansion, but the average is around 1 year between expansions. For the same reason it's in real life, I would imagine, Jay. The Kirin Tor aren't actually a neutral faction anymore, which is why I didn't count them. The Kirin Tor have officially been pledged to the Alliance. The Argent Crusade is nowhere near as strong as they used to be, no. They still have a decent military power at their backs, but nowhere near what they used to have. They lost a lot in Northrend. Yeah. Ooh, I like that idea, Psychotic. Keep in mind that, you know, the Steam Little Cartel has a decent amount of money and resources, and, you know, the Argent Dawn still have their military hold up in Hearthglen, and there's a couple of other neutral factions and everything, but both the Ring and the Circle are literally global organizations who haven't really had much in the way of losses, are well respected by basically everyone, and are definitively neutral, so... So as you can see, the Night Elves have actually sent a contingent of sentinels to help us out. I find this interesting, by the way. This is such a Night Elven thing to do. They are so prejudiced, and, you know, shut up, dog. Shut up. Shut up. There we go. They are so prejudiced, and they are so... hypocritical, and they have so many other flaws in their culture. And yet, the one weird thing about the Night Elves is if they feel they owe you, or they feel they have a debt, or if they respect you, they will do anything for you. They will go to the ends of the earth for you. And the Night Elves here actually believe that they owe these people because they are indirectly responsible for the Wargen curse. So... the Night Elves actually send multiple ships, and in lore they actually send an entire fleet out here to rescue pretty much the entirety of the Gilnean people, and an entire contingent of troops along with glaive throwers, which are not exactly in high supply right now since they're actively at war with the Horde. And they didn't come here to fight the Forsaken, by the way. They came here to help rescue the Wargen. Just food for thought there.
We do what we must.
It's good to see you again, Coldclaw. The Night Elves have made good on their promise. They've brought ships and are ready to offer us sanctuary in their lands. Unfortunately, the Forsaken's allies have arrived as well. The Orcs are advancing upon us with the Hold gunship, which is preventing transport ships from getting our people to safety. The Druids are holding the enemy back, but won't last long. Fortunately, the Elven ships are carrying siege weapons. Take one of them and meet the enemy head on! Yes, that's right. For the first, and I believe only time in Warcraft history, I mean WoW history, excuse me, we can actually pilot a glaive thrower. Oh yeah, they brought ancients too, just to really help hammer the point in. Welcome back, Azura. Hope you enjoyed being an adult. Come on, render. I don't know about you guys, but I just like the idea of a glaive thrower more than I do a standard catapult artillery. Of course, I also really like that idea that we saw in Outland that we never actually saw in action. We just saw the broken remnants of those siege weapons. Oh, you can apparently use these in the Isle of Conquest. My bad. I admittedly would not know. I'm the wrong person to ask about PvP unless it involves Alterac Valley, or Sun Gulch, or Arathi Basin. Yeah, basically, Schmeidolf. Spinning Blades of Doom, though. As you can see. There are good guys. Anduin's a good guy. The player character's a good guy. Or girl, as the case may be. Yep, that's it. No, I'm kidding. There are actually quite a few good people in the setting. If you mean there's a good faction, that's a little more debatable. Most of the factions have a little bit too much gray in them to really qualify as good. And most of these so-called evil factions actually also have gray in them to be more than just evil. There are a couple of out-and-out evil factions. Twilight's Hammer comes to mind immediately. The Old Gods. The Burning Legion. Now you gotta say it right, Psychotic. Good is a point of view, Anakin. Gotta do the right thing, buddy. I can't wait to do that quest and see everyone's reactions to it. Mouse wheel, Nothrazim. Mouse wheel in and out. There's probably a hotkey, but I don't actually know what it is. I would say the Cenarius Expedition are like 95% good, honestly. I agree completely on that. They, as I talked about constantly as we're going through Outland, they really just cared about fixing the world. That world, not this world. And, yeah, good on them. Which is funny, I'm not actually dropping frames, but apparently I'm having a huge delay today. It's weird. Hey, I brought your glaive thrower back. This thing is amazing. Can I, like, have this back? No? Okay.
We will prevail.
It's almost over. Only one obstacle remains between us and survival. Okay. What is that, Miss Crowley?
Make it quick.
We need to get rid of that flying gunship if our people to have any chance of escaping. Here's the plan. Keel Harbor has its share of rebel sympathizers in the old days. I've managed to round up a hefty amount of incendiary explosives from one of our storehouses. We're going to hit the enemy with a force small enough to fly in undetected. The hippogriff should do the trick. We'll give you the signal when we're ready to go. Let's do it!
I got a bad feeling.
What is it?
Get cabin or get going.
Okay. Just gonna hang out here. Waiting patiently. Yeah, I've had a lot of people say they resubbed because of the Lorerun. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I know. I remembered this as soon as I realized I was waiting for him, not vice versa. So anybody know any good knock-knock jokes? Oh, hey. Sorry, I can hop on now. Alright, time to go! Another little fun factoid, just to give you this lore now while we're on our way to the gunship. So these Night Elven ships are going to carry us all the way across the sea to Kalimdor. That's a long freaking trip. That's like a 4-month journey. Also, it's going through the Maelstrom area, which, as I've already stressed, is a really, really dangerous place to go through. For the reference, I don't know why they don't do this, even though that would make sense. Whatever. I mention this because as we're going through there, the Night Elf ships are beset by a very horrible storm. And in fact, several of the Night Elves actually die, saving the Wargen and saving the others as they're going through there. And I just want you to keep that in mind because it again helps to inform not only why Gilmnaean himself pledges himself to the Alliance, because really it was only because of the efforts of the Night Elves, but also why my own character, my Wargen I played, was so devoted to the Night Elves. Basically considered them like Gilneans, if you understand the significance of that statement. And if you don't, remember, the Gilneans have this huge Gilnean pride thing going on. Gilneans are all about Gilnean things and Gilnean stuff, and all Gilnean stuff is Gilnean better, and blah, 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 blah. You know, huge national pride thing going on. So, to basically consider the Night Elves as if they were Gilneans, there's effectively nothing a Gilnean can do to respect you more than that.
Secure the rafters!
We did. We're secure. The Maelstrom's actually 2 problems in one. We'll actually be seeing the Maelstrom much, much later.
I want 2 sharpshooters to stay behind and cover the deck. Everyone else, use the ropes to rappel down. Let's give them hell.
Alright. Basically, the Maelstrom is a storm that's been raging for about 10 millennia. You know, think Jupiter style, if you will. And in a magical storm in addition to a physical storm. And, in addition to that, wow, this ship is really tilting, isn't it? Look at this. In addition to that, it's
Hands
also...
up, greenskins! My men will give you your new bearing. You try anything funny, and we'll fill you with lead.
Okay.
The rest of you, follow me downstairs.
Okay.
Voice acting. I'm not sure, Draculus, honestly. So anyways, recently, there's also a hole in reality there, in the center of the Maelstrom. It basically goes in between this plane and the plane of elemental earth, Deep Hole. That's a very recent addition. The cataclysm that just happened and gives this expansion its namesake is that hole being ripped asunder. A very, very, very large, very powerful dragon called Deathwing broke through the elemental plane of Earth into Azeroth through that spot.
We've got the explosives in the furnace room. Just hold them off now.
Metal, actually,
That's
Kamek.
one big orc.
Yeah, we got this. Maybe. I'm all by myself. Maybe I should get some more heirloom gear really quick. I think I'm going to do that, like, super quick here. Just... Oh, crap. Too late. Too late. Kill him. Kill him. Oh, God. Kill him. I'm sorry, G-Juice. If I had my way, you'd be eating much better than tofu. I kid. I don't actually like tofu. God, this ship is really tilting back and forth. You see that? Now, trust me, this is metal right here. Metal. This up here? Metal. Metal, 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 metal. That's wood up there. Oh. So if you can tell, we're kind of crashing. As you can see. So what she did was she told the airship to aim in the direction of the Forsaken camp, set explosives on it, and then we fly off at the last second with their own wyverns. So... And then we get bugged. Hopefully we won't be stuck here forever. Oh, we're okay. Okay, we're okay. We're okay. That's not actually a bug in the strictest sense. That's actually an example of good code. As you can see, by the way, the wall has seen better days. Someone earlier was asking about maintenance there. Yeah. Well, actually, as we find out later, Garrosh had no problem experimenting on his fellow orc.
Make it quick.
We did it, Coldclaw. We started the evacuation. If we leave soon, we'll leave the Forsaken fleet in the dust. Ding! Oh, last ding. Last ding. I don't think we'll take it here, though. I think we'll take this somewhere else. It's more appropriate elsewhere.
What brings you here?
Actually, no. Let's go ahead and do it like right here. Right here. Hey, buddy. Ding time. With our Night Elven Admiral friend. There we go.
I am listening.
Are you ready to set sail, Coldclaw? Your people have been granted shelter in the lands of the Teldrassil. Do not worry, Wargen. Your people will get a chance to fight for Gilneas again. This time, with the full strength of the Alliance. That's awfully presumptive, really. 6 months later... Seriously. Seriously, seriously. Here we are at Teldrassil. Also known as the... It's so tall I can't even see the top of it. I really can't wait to look at this thing when we get to Legion and they've upped the render radius.
Well met.
So, this is it. Our new home. I'm not sure if I'll ever feel like I have a home again. We mustn't be underappreciative of the Night Elves who've offered us, though. Their race is not one to throw out idle welcomes to anyone. It's a true testament to the faith and generosity they've taken us in. Gwen and Gilmnaean are in the city proper, the Howling Oak. Should stop by, take the portal between the tree to the north of us, then seek out the Howling Oak on the northern part of the city. Yeah, Teldrassil is actually even bigger than it looks in-game. In lore, it is, I mean. Also one of my favorite cities for pure aesthetics. I used to hang out here just because I really liked this place, and there was basically no one else over here. I always liked having weird hometowns in MMOs. You should have seen my hometown in Asheron's Call. Oh, right. First thing I see when I get here, buying true iron ore and blackrock ore in bulk, paying 1 gold per. That's actually a pretty good price. I know, Hylisk. I mean, so as you can see, here's another one of those halfway in the dream trees I was talking about earlier. The Howling Oak here. And once again, you can see the Emerald Dream and the magic of the Moonwell kind of seeping through it.
Gilneas will prevail.
No, Isaac. I could show you a picture of it. Hang on, if you give me a moment. I gotta find that picture. But in lore, Teldrassil is actually quite impressive looking. Give me a moment, okay? Freaking gargantuan, Jay. I know that sounds generic and, well, it's because it kind of is. Where's that one? There's one image that really gets it across. There's actually two that really help explain how massive Teldrassil is and what it actually looks like in lore. This'll have to do. Give me a moment. The world is about the size of Earth in lore. Give or take. So this is basically what Teldrassil looks like in lore. As you can see, there's actually settlements and whatnot all the way leading up it. And the actual boughs up there are what the actual playable area is on the top of Teldrassil, once we actually get up top there. So, this is a little bit of a better example of what it's supposed to look like if we actually had the game engine to support it actually looking like this. Obviously we don't, but, you know. Excuse me. Oops.
Gilneas will rise again.
It seems you have our first charge. You must travel back down to Rutheran village, back where we first arrived. And, whoa, crap, hello. Oh my god, it's Tyrande and Malfurion. Priestess Tyrande, we didn't expect you. Good evening. I hope my people have been welcoming to you. These are burdened times, so I fear much may be competing with their good graces. Not at all, Priestess. We are very grateful for all that you've offered us here. When we spoke previously, you offered to repay the favor. I may have to act on that sooner than I would have liked. There is trouble at Lorerun, a village of ours across the waters from Rutheran. If any of your people can be spared, I fear war encroaching upon us in Kalimdor. I know the perfect people for such a task. I'll send them immediately, Priestess. Thank you, Gan. I am glad to see such poise and composure from your people. Perhaps your curse does not define you after all. We'll take our leave. Again, welcome, all of you. Please do not pay attention to the fact that Malfurion is basically twice as tall as Tyrande over there. Just don't think about that.
For Gilneas.
So, I'm just going to read this quest. We're not actually going to do it. We're going to go to Lorendel and basically start doing the Night Elf zones. Or rather, that's what we do in lore. We're not doing that. We're done with our Wargen. But Gilmnaean heads to Stormwind to meet with King Varian. And then basically is never heard from again. Until Legion, of course. So, yeah. Yeah. Hang on. Someone actually did the math once by assuming how long a yard was and then assuming paces, and then determining that as a basis to determine how actual large the in-game map is of the world. It was quite big. Quite big. Apparently, according to this, before Pandaria came out, so not even including Pandaria, it is, hang on just a second. Looks like it's close to 607 square miles, not counting Pandaria. According to some math some people did who are not me. Where are these? Oh yeah, right. So, given the time, as much as I would actually like to keep going, there's no way in hell I'm going to finish another zone right now. So I think I'm actually going to chop it off for the night here. Tomorrow, we'll probably go ahead and do these two guys, just to get them over with, and start working on our Kalimdor stuff. Because once we finish the Troll and the Tauren, let's see, we'll play our Orc, briefly. And I think that's actually it. And then we'll be able to start moving through Kalimdor. So, yeah, I guess I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Hopefully I will not have a late start this time, because I'll actually get to sleep sooner than 2 in the morning. So, see you around, guys.